Souls Unitarian Universalist Church, building community, inspiring growth, creating change. Here in the heart of Kansas City, we come together to create this hour of shared reflection so that we might be renewed in courage for these times and inspired to lives of greater dignity, higher purpose, deeper generosity, and more effective action. If you are new to Unitarian Universalism or to our congregation, we want to get to know you and share a part of your journey. If this place is already your spiritual home, welcome back. We need one another, and it is good to be together again. We are so excited to be together in person again after almost 2 years of gathering only online during the coronavirus pandemic. Nevertheless, through the gifts of technology, we continue to celebrate community and connections with each other online also, as we lean into the values of justice, compassion, and reason. Together, we learn the love that has the power to overcome both loneliness in the heart and oppression in the world. Welcome to our service this morning. May the words and music and images that we offer today nourish our best selves, calling forth abundant wisdom and love.
Good morning, and welcome back, all those who are here in Bragg Auditorium this morning. Let's begin with a big wave to greet all our friends online. Hi! It is so good to see all these familiar faces and to be in a room full of energy and anticipation. We gather today in awareness that this day, just short of the 2-year anniversary of our coronavirus shutdown, does not mark the end of the pandemic. We gather in caution, without food, with restrained singing, with masked breathing, because we know that the disease is still spreading. And together we choose to still be careful of one another's safety. Nevertheless, we gather, having taken all reasonable measures to protect ourselves and each other. Because, as Abraham Joshua Heschel has written, in spite of our pride, in spite of our acquisitiveness, in spite of our anxiety, we are driven by an awareness that something is asked of us, that we are asked to wonder, to revere, to think, and to live in a way that is compatible with the grandeur and the mystery of living. The questions come to us in the day or the nighttime. Bidden and unbidden, they confront us with the reality and truth of the inner life. And so we come to this temple of the human spirit to ask ourselves and each other once again, what are you spending and being spent for? What commands and what receives your best time and energy? What causes, dreams, goals, and institutions are you pouring out your life for? As you live your life, what powers do you fear or dread? As you live your life, what powers do you rely on and trust? To what or to whom are you loyal in life and unto death? With whom do you share your most sacred and private hopes? What and who are the inspirations and purposes of your life? Each day brings these questions anew. We would be reminded that each day we build the answers in the depth and quality of our living. Here in this place made sacred by memories and promises, may we call to mind what it is that matters most to us. May we dedicate ourselves again to the higher answers to these large questions, so that our lives might show forth our wonder, our reverence, and our thought, and be conducted in a way that is compatible with the grandeur and the mystery of our being. In that aspiration and in that commitment to one another here, we light this chalice, symbol of our tradition, remembering that we are children of a goodly heritage and stewards of that legacy on behalf of our own children. Know that in these hopes and these promises, we are never alone. We reminded each other of that connection 2 weeks ago at our celebration of the holiday of Imbolc, or Candlemas, when we blessed these mini chalice candles so that each of us might have a reminder of our link with all souls at home with us. At that time we said, "Blessed be these candles that connect us to one another in community. Blessed be the sacred fire that lives deep within each one of us. May we cherish its light. Holy One, warmth of love, light of truth, fire of commitment, remind us that all flame is your flame, that all flame is one, that even when we are separated, we are not alone. Blessed be the candle of your heart, dear ones. May you carry its flame warm through all darkness and into the glad light of day always." Now, while we continue the practice of taking a moment for those online to identify all the places in which the light of our many chalices burn, I invite each household that is present today to come forward and receive your candle. They are lightly scented with mint, lemon, lavender, or rose. If you have a preference, you can find a label in the little white circle on the lid. And I think we'll be safest if you come down the far aisles, pick up your candle, and then go back to your seat down the center aisle. Hope that makes sense. May this gift be to each of us a symbol of all that binds us together in the covenant of memory and promise in this beloved community. I am delighted to see that several people picked up a second candle to take to someone they know or who lives close to them. That's fabulous, thank you. Would you please let either Bonnie or Sherry up here in the front row know that you did that so that we can keep track of who still needs to receive their candle. After the service, you don't have to do it right now. For now, let's join together in the words of our covenant. Goodwill is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to sing together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
I want to thank you for being here this morning. I want to thank you for being great models of our society and the way we are today by wearing your masks. And I want to thank you for continuing to realize that singing, as I don't wear a mask, I say all this, but singing it expels the biggest amount of aerosol droplets. So we have to be careful. You're wearing a KN95 mask, and I say, hum or sing lightly, because these are all familiar songs today, and we want you to have the most joyous time in the room as those folks at home are, because they're singing at the top of their lungs. So I hope that you all can be present this morning and help us out by enjoying lightly and quietly. I want to say thank you to Shanna Jones and Tom Lancaster for being here this morning and being our song leaders. I want to also let you know that choir practice will resume tomorrow evening. We will be in this room, and we will be spread out all over this room so that we can learn to sing again, get our voices back in shape again, and eventually be able to do something in the service. And we're going to decide what that is as time goes along. So thank you for being here this morning. Happy Valentine's Eve. And let's join together in singing Gather the Spirit, or humming. Gather in faith, gather
Hopefully many of you have been practicing our sign language. Yes, no, maybe? I'm going to go over all the signs first, and then we'll do it all together. Feel free to stand up when we do it together if you want to really move and make it dramatic. I encourage you. Our first sign, spirit. This hand shape comes up. Spirit. Life. This is the hand shape. Starts down here and comes up. Life. Come unto me. It's all in one sign. Sing. Heart. Just outline your heart. Love. Wind. Sea or ocean. Your non-dominant hand is the shore. Your dominant hand is going to be the waves that are going to break on it. And then we're going to make our waves go out into the world. Hands. Hands. We're just going to show our hands. Hands. Yeah. So it just slides in front of one and slides in front of the other. Giving life. Two flat hands come away from us and again out into the world. Justice. This is the hand shape. And we just go back and forth. Justice. Roots. This is the hand shape. And your roots are just going to go down. Going to grow down. Wings. And our final sign is free. This is the hand shape. So that your thumb and your finger touch. There we go. Then you bring them to the side and break them up. Free. Free. Once more, spirit and life. All right. I encourage you to stand.
With us will be sent off to their.
Good morning. From a Theology of Giving by Reverend Stephen Edington. We'll bear out that affirmation. Also need ways to assure that the gift will always move. Whatever we have been given, possibilities from one generation to the next. Our money offers us the means and the opportunity to keep the life gift moving by supporting the institutions we have created to nurture and sustain that gift. Furthermore, it is our financial support of institutions that allows us to call them to responsibility and accountability for their making of our world into a more human and humane place. If we affirm that life is a sacred gift, then our moving the gift along is a sacramental act, a means of expressing gratitude and thanksgiving for the life that we are given. To offer a financial portion of our life gift to support our institutions in order to keep the gift moving is an act to be joyfully celebrated.
I can't tell you how happy I am to be here this morning and see all your faces and imagine those smiles behind the masks. This is from a blog post by Doug Shaw. There is a phrase in The Art of Asking which is currently resonating with me. The gift must always move. I love this idea. I frequently wrestle with the question, how much is enough? And realize that some of the hardest choices we make are around what to keep and what to pass on and move on from. Yesterday, I was invited to respond to this question, what is profitable? I wrote the following answer to myself, giving stuff away. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten that I have financial needs to meet and fun things I want to do, which require the earning of and exchange of cold, hard cash. In addition, I genuinely believe there is greater overall wealth created in passing stuff on and in the exchange of gifts between us.
Welcome. It is so nice to see some of the faces of those who are joined together today in worship and fellowship at All Souls. And to those whose faces I don't see as you join us remotely, your presence is still felt and appreciated. I am Andrea Jonson, and I am serving you in the role of president of your Board of Trustees. Today begins our pledge drive. Over the next few weeks, you will hear various members share about why they make a pledge to All Souls. And yes, that shameless tug at your heartstrings is meant to also tug at your purse strings. We cannot do what we do without money, and we can't plan for the future without having an idea of how much money we will have in the future. That is why your pledge is so important. As a member for nearly 19 years, I have made a pledge each of those years. When I first started attending, I was a single mom with a very, very small income, and I made a very small pledge. I doubt my pledge would cover the supplies for a single Sunday school class on a single Sunday. But I knew I was giving what I could, and more importantly, I knew that it meant I was counted amongst the members who made a promise to the church and each other to work together to sustain this church, this beacon for social justice, this moral classroom for my child, and all the other unnamed things it meant to me and the others who joined me in making that promise. I also made a pledge of my time. I found something I could do from home after Tori had gone to bed. I know you won't believe this, but it was something I could do on the computer. And here we are, nearly 2 decades later. My financial pledge has grown with my income, and my pledge of time has grown with my commitment to see this church thrive, which is a word we believe we created with one of the board's goals this year of thriving COVID. When Kendall asks me to say something in a service, she provides a prompt or two, and this week is no different. She wanted me to share not only why I give financially, but why I give my time to serve on the board. My first response was, after these past 2 years, I wonder about that myself. Then I got serious and started thinking about how I could encapsulate that reason for you in the time allotted to me. I decided to share one of my most recent reminders of why I do this. I was working with Kendall and some of the other board members to answer the congregational survey that is part of the UUA annual certification process. The question asks, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the conflict in your congregation this past year? Oh boy, my first thought is, wow, based on the number of emotional emails, phone calls, and conversations I have encountered about whether we should return to in-person services or remain virtual, our conflict is high. It has been a long time since I have seen this strong of a division in opinions on a topic that so directly impacts our congregation. Then I read the next line, where it asked us to rank our conflict on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being we are aware of conflict and it is well within healthy range, and 10 being the conflict is causing the congregation to implode. Everyone took a collective breath and realized that when you put it that way, we're only a 2. As frustrated as I am sure many people on both sides were, there was no name-calling or other unacceptable behavior. There were only emotional emails, phone calls, and conversations, sharing thoughts, ideas, and reasons to maybe change our mind. All healthy, appropriate responses. This way that our congregation works together is one of the many reasons I pledge my time and money to support this church in the here and now and long into the future. I sincerely hope you will join me in making a pledge to All Souls and all of us that benefit from it. And just to drive, yes, pledge drive joke there, the point, here are a few others speaking from the heart on why they pledge.
Hello, my name is Barbara Fredholm, and I live in a conservative community, John Knox Village in Lee's Summit, Missouri. I feel strongly about the need to support anything having to do with Unitarian Universalism, especially All Souls. Until about 4 years ago, I have always lived in small towns in southern Missouri with few UU congregations. Now I am very thankful to live where there is a UU congregation within driving distance that I can be a part of. It is hard for me to understand why we are such a minority. Why are there so few UU congregations and fellowships in this country? Our spiritual community accepts people of all races, abilities, sexual orientation, genders, and class. How can a caring community be any other way? When UUs become aware of a cause that needs support or something that needs to be done, we do it. We are open-minded and work for justice and fairness. We practice gratitude. Always I have felt comfortable in a UU congregation because UU values are part of what I value the most. All Souls needs financial support to give people a chance to be a part of this important and vital community of caring people.
Hello, my name is Marianne Hewitt DeRosset, and this is my wife, Camila. It's so good to see you this Sunday. It's been too long. We joined All Souls in 2008, which seems both not that long ago and forever ago. I have served on the All Souls Board of Trustees and previously on the Church Council of the Lutheran Church we attended previously. When you've done this, you all see all the details in the functioning to keep the parts working, the cost of operations. You also struggle each year to attempt to work out a balanced budget. This is helped immensely by the people of the church honestly assessing and declaring their pledge. We feel it is important to help support all the good that All Souls does for our people and for the impact we all make in the community around us. Please join us in helping support All Souls in all we do.
My passion is for the children in our church. If there are no children, there is no growth. This really became front and center for me when we became grandparents for the first time a year ago. We have an excellent children's program, and we need to support it and grow it. We need to encourage our children to grow into the best people they can become. Kindness solves so many things. Be kind.
And please submit your pledge so that we can continue to support this church.
Hi, I'm Karen Virgi, and I have been a UU for almost 10 years. I have been a member at All Souls since July 1st, 2021. Before that, every time we visited our sons here in KC for about the last 10 years, we would visit All Souls and really enjoy the services. Now, being involved in my church has always been important to me. Here at All Souls, I belong to the Needle Hearts group, and I crochet scarves and other items for other people. I belong to the movie group, which is a lot of fun, and I have watched movies I never would have watched otherwise. I am also taking Kendall's class, Reemergence of Unitarian and Universalism, and I am learning a lot and really enjoying every minute of it. These are just some of the reasons why my contribution to this church are important. The work of this church is very important to me, particularly the Food for the Homeless program. But I learned early on in my life that churches don't run on a wing and a prayer. Because this is my church, it is important that I make a monetary contribution every week. The church has never closed during this pandemic, and the electric bill, heating and cooling bill, as well as all employees' wages still need to be taken care of. And it's up to me to contribute my fair share. This church, Unitarian Universalism, is extremely important to me. It gives me the spiritual direction I need in my life, as well as the community I need to belong to. You know, if I don't contribute my fair share, this church may not be able to meet its responsibilities. I need to do this for my own welfare. Sunday suppers, coffee hours, or where I get a chance to meet people and share opinions and ideas. I love the Needle Heart group because besides crocheting things that are needed, I get to talk with others about books, movies, and TV shows. I have watched the services when they've been online, and I have attended whenever they were live. You know, the church doesn't stop serving its congregation just because of COVID. I love the services, online and in person, and I learn something at every single one. I would be lost without the services and the community. It has always been important for me to contribute to whatever church I have belonged to, and even more so with my UU church, because I believe in the social justice work that is being done here. Let me give you another example of why a UU community is important to me. I had major stomach surgery August 31st, 2016, and women in my church community brought me meals so I wouldn't have to cook. My husband was out of town during that week for work, and so having somebody else bring me meals was a huge help. I cannot imagine being a part of this church, using all of its services, and then not contributing anything financially to the church. It makes no sense to me. I am a member here, and I need to pay my dues, if you want to call them that, like I would if I belonged to a bowling league or some other organization. This church needs me to contribute my fair share, or it might not survive this pandemic. Even though we may not be meeting in person, this church is still serving us in many, many ways besides the services. I cannot imagine not being a part of this community. I contribute my fair share, and I hope you do too. Thanks for listening.
Hi, I'm Bob Miller. I grew up here back in the 50s and 60s because my parents were All Souls members when I was born. So I'm a second generation Unitarian, raised a Dr. Bragg humanist. As an adult, I've been a member here for over 21 years. As I was nearing retirement in the fall of 2020, I needed to find something new and meaningful to do with my life, so I returned to All Souls after being away for 30 years. It felt like coming home and quickly became my new chosen community. All Souls has been a big part of my life, both growing up and since I retired. I quickly made new friends and became involved in many things All Souls had to offer: adult ed classes, General Assembly and district conferences, various social groups, and social justice activities. I maintain an ongoing pledge, which I've raised several times over the years, to do my part in keeping All Souls going strong. A strong All Souls requires high-quality staff and a well-maintained church facilities, including our online presence, where we can meet for inspiring Sunday services and thought-provoking forums, enjoy our talented and enthusiastic choir, and provide our kids with a good religious education program that teaches good values and social skills. Our building and staff enable us to be an important presence in Kansas City for liberal religious values and social justice outreach with programs like Hunger Outreach, Carver Amigos, and More Squared. We provide community and sanctuary for our members and friends who are involved in many other social justice and community activities as well. Every spring, the Finance Committee and Board put together a budget for the next fiscal year for approval at the annual meeting in May. In order for the Board to have an idea of how much income to expect, it's very helpful to get a pledge from every member of what you intend to contribute to church operations in the upcoming year. Those of us who can need to give more so that all of us can have a vibrant, healthy church home. I'm really looking forward to getting back together and seeing everyone again, and meeting folks who have joined us during this period of isolation, and seeing what kind of post-pandemic future we can build together. If you haven't done so already, please pledge generously so we can continue nurturing and growing this wonderful community. Thank you.
This
Money is some of the most spiritual stuff there is. Money is a clear lens, magnifying and focusing the objects to which it is directed, while having no substance of its own. Money is sheer potential, stored energy that becomes destructive or beneficial, oppression or freedom, evil or good, purely on the basis of what we choose to do with it. Money is power, the power to decide and to make things happen. There's nothing more spiritual than power. When new members join All Souls, they are sometimes surprised by how straightforward we try to be in presenting this congregation's financial picture and practices to them. Surprised, but usually in the end appreciative. The membership committee and the staff hand out copies of the annual budget and try to make it clear where the money comes from, as well as where it is spent, and the cumulative level of contribution from the members that is necessary in order to keep this institution, as it is presently constructed, afloat. It seems to me that we, as believers in reason, have a commitment to tell the truth about reality, and money is certainly one of the realities of our individual and collective lives. And how we handle that reality as individuals and as families and as a congregation says something important about who we are. Something that no amount of pious words about mission statements or purposes and principles or personal values can contradict. And so we are going to talk about money this morning. We have been talking about money this morning, though not primarily about the congregation's money. Rather, I want to talk about the spiritual power of money in your own individual lives and how what you do with your money both shapes and expresses the person you most fundamentally are. Most of the religious traditions of the world through history have regarded money as an ambiguous and often dangerous force, an obstacle to enlightenment or salvation or the service of God, whatever the particular tradition took to be the highest form of spiritual attainment. The Buddhist monk with his begging bowl, the desert hermit in his austere cave, the advice of Jesus, go sell all thou hast and give to the poor. All are expressions of the typical opposition between religious teaching and money. Yet most of these traditions have another strand, side by side with the first, a strand of instruction for those of us who do not renounce the world and trust ourselves entirely to providence to fill all our needs. For the rest of us, there is a universal imperative. If you want to keep your spirit whole, if you want any possibility of an inner life or personal growth, you must give some money away. In primitive traditions, often took the form of sacrifice. Some portion of the community's goods or your goods were set aside and dedicated to the gods. Sometimes they were burnt. Sometimes they were returned to the soil in order to secure fertile harvests. Sometimes they were openly given to the sustenance of the shaman, the oracles, the priest, the wise one. Sometimes this imperative took the form of sponsoring great public feasts or of elaborate gift exchanges between communities. Sometimes it was conceived as direct beneficence to the poor and needy. But the bottom line was always the same. You will not be lucky, you will not be happy, you will not be whole unless you give something meaningful away. You cannot keep it all. Generosity is not merely the effect of success and maturity and well-doing. It is a precondition for the possibility of becoming complete as a human being in community. I want to suggest to you this morning that these ancient traditions are wise. I want to suggest that the practice of generosity remains a necessary cornerstone of the balanced, healthy personality, part of the path that we must walk if we are to achieve the fullness of our humanity. This necessity has been explained in several ways. Some have said that since the whole earth belongs to its creator, which is not you, so does everything we have on earth. And so whatever we give away is only being returned to its rightful owner anyway. That's not exactly what I'm saying. Others have suggested that our giving is actually a form of investment upon which the universe will necessarily pay us back with interest. Not convinced of that either. But what I do know is that giving away money changes my attitude about money and my relationship to it. What I do know is that to love money for its own sake is a sterile, idolatrous, closed-off, trapped way of being in the world. And that the more I love money, the less I am aware of the gracious gladness of life and of my secure balance within it. Money is spiritually powerful stuff because it has no value in and of itself. It only represents what we can do with it and how we feel about it. That is why to love it in itself is a kind of idolatry, like loving the image in the mirror. The antidote to that toxic trap is the practice of generosity, the discipline of giving. Giving money away is a radical and subversive and powerful act in our hyper-capitalist society. It sends a shockwave all along the cultural conventions of hoarding and consumption and greed. It does not say that money or the power of money or the things of this world that money can buy are evil. It does not say that. But it says that they are not ultimate, not the highest goods. It says that there are more important things than money, things like spiritual growth and the kind of persons that you and I are becoming, and the kind of world that we see in our best visions together. To give away money is to make a powerful statement. It is to say, thank you, I have enough. I live in a world of abundance. It is to say, money doesn't control me, and fear doesn't control me. I act out of my own choice. It is to say, I am more than what I consume, and my values are worth investing in. These affirmations are important statements of defiance against a narcissistic culture which tempts us to believe that we can never have enough, that we live in a world of scarcity, robbed of our choices because we are constantly afraid. All around us, it is everywhere suggested that we are only as good as what we consume, and that the only bottom line which really matters is the dollars and cents balance sheet. Now, I would be the first person to tell you that dollars and cents matter. They matter precisely because they give us a measurement of what things are most important to us, including qualities like honesty, industry, responsibility, prudence, and honor. But the point is that these qualities are only expressed by what we do with and about money, not simply by how much of it we have. This is exactly the opposite of a sheer consumer culture, which suggests that it does not matter much what we have done or will do with money, so long as we have a lot of it. To give money away is to challenge the power of that cultural message with the power of a deeper, more spiritual message which says that I have and I am enough, that I am to be measured not by what I hoard, but by what I give, and that my security and my freedom lie beyond the endless accumulation of money. That is not necessarily an easy message to hear or to act out of, but it is a message of spiritual wholeness, of liberation and integrity of the inner life. It is a path we follow as people before us have followed it, paradoxically at first, but with growing conviction to more essential truth and to more abundant life. Giving to support religious community and other significant value-based institutions is a policy decision, a deliberate determination to set aside some part of our resources as a personal, ethical, and spiritual commitment, a way of being in the world, a statement of defiance to the idolatrous, fear-based consumer orientation toward money. Pledging is a kind of covenant, not only to and with the church, but also a promise to oneself that there are things that matter more than the accumulation of the abstraction that is money. Now, obviously, everyone's personal financial situation differs, and not everyone can instantly commit to any particular level of generosity. Each of us can only do what is possible for each of us. But we can all ask the questions. What would my life be like if I were to set aside some part of whatever I have to work with for the benefit of others? What kind of person do I want to be? What kind of relationship to money do I want to have? What is the present level of my giving? Do I even know? If I have no conscious discipline of generosity, could I start one? Nothing about that process is magic. It is a way of getting our attention, a challenge to be or become intentional. Some religious communities expect to receive 10% of their members' income for the work of the church. But it seems to me that for liberals in the modern world, there are other opportunities and other obligations. Church must take its place among the values that we invest in. It should not, I think, be the only object of our generosity. I also think that contributing and choosing how those contributions ought to be distributed is a decision that a family should make and celebrate together. The best way for our children to really understand how the gifts of our lives continue to move is to see that happening by deliberate and thoughtful and even joyful intent in their own families by the example of their parents. I hope that those of you who have children in your household will talk with them about your giving to this congregation and what that means to you personally and as a family. There's an old chestnut of a sermon illustration about the waters of the Dead Sea in Israel. The streams that flow into it from the Jordan Valley are as fresh and life-giving as those that feed any other lake, including Lake Kinneret, which teems with fish and birds and wildlife, also fed by the River Jordan. But most inland bodies of water, like Lake Kinneret, have outlets. They run into other rivers or over underground springs, and so are continually being drained and renewed. The Dead Sea is dead because its waters go nowhere beyond itself. Its waters can only evaporate, leaving behind concentrations of salt 10 times that of seawater. And so there is no life in it apart from cellular bacteria, because it has to keep everything. The parable suggests that human beings are like this, that it is only when we recognize that the gift must always move that our lives and our societies remain vital and life-giving. To practice intentional generosity is not to diminish ourselves. It is to nurture the life of community and strengthen the interdependent web of all existence so that we may all thrive together. May our souls be brought to greater, deeper, more abundant life by the practice of generosity, that we may live in freedom and without fear. And so may the gifts we share bring into being the world of our highest and most eager expectations.
One destiny out.
from Richard Thompson, who is going to introduce this morning's offering, but we'll save that for another occasion and invite you now to just join in the dedication of our offering, which will be just a quick challenge for the tech deck. So hang on one second. There you are, so please join with me. We dedicate our offerings and our actions to the mission at the heart of this congregation, to build a respectful, caring community, to just and compassionate society. Now, we release this flame and send it forth into the world. Thank you. Sending the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment out into the world, and these we also carry in our minds and hearts until we are together again. Now may the gift move in grace and gratitude from your hand outward to community and to the great web of all life. May you choose to bless the world with your gifts, whatever you discover them to be. And may you receive with thanksgiving all the beauty and joy that existence offers. May the practice of generosity nourish your character and sustain the human connections that make us glad and whole.